good evening, everybody. It's Thursday evening. We're here at the Spike and Rail. This is the HammerFist podcast, brought to you by the support of MMA Fight Pass at the Spike and Rail. They call it the Barbecue House, I believe now. Okay, and also Visalia MMA. Alonzo out there at About Millions, and 559Fights is on there for this as well. So hey, man, a lot of support going on. Off a big weekend. I bought this in Fresno, another successful event, man. Good fights, a lot of action. But what we're going to talk about, events that are be coming up. We got Mr. 559 in the house. We're going to talk to Jeremy, and then a little bit about the upcoming UFC big card as well coming up this weekend. How you guys doing?
Wonderful, man. Thanks for having me again.
Hey, man, honored. Oh, shout out to Selma, man, getting the team win for the CIF. The rest of the stuff was pretty. I was reading some of the stuff. God, what the heck?
I mean,
for all the the money that the people put into this stuff, and then our association, the California Interscholastic deal.
I think that it sometimes people that govern sports in certain areas, they're not really familiar with the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have people making decisions on matters that they don't really understand the sport or know about its traditions and meanings and things like that. So they kind of get lost at the wayside. And on top of that, I mean, running such a huge event as that was, you know what I mean? They had, I think it was like 28,000 people walk through the doors in 3 days. So me doing events, I obviously understand and know how frustrating, frustrating and the logistics, and I try to explain some of that stuff to my son. You know what I mean? Going into it, because they combine the boys and the girls state tournament, and it was just a little disheartening, some of the stuff that they did, and I think they could have thought a little bit better about the athletes and how it was going to affect them, and the kind of the awards and things like that they kind of changed. Really what it came down to was adding the boys and the girls. The boys had certain traditions that the girls didn't have, and then when they added them to make them equal, they didn't raise the girls. They eliminated the boys. Right? You know what I mean?
Instead of supporting, they
So and that was my son's main reason for writing the letter to CIF, and his biggest gripe was that not necessarily so much about an award not being received, but more about like, hey man, like this experience was supposed to be, the girls were supposed to get the same experience that the boys got, and he's a big advocate for, we have great girl wrestlers in Selma, you know what I mean? Yeah. Some of his very best friends are girl wrestlers across the state, so he was just kind of disappointed with the way that they handled it, and I'm sure it kind of stung a little bit, you know what I mean, to fight back and take, you lose in the semis, you fight back and you take third, and then you're expecting to get a big bracket, and it doesn't show up. So it was an interesting start to the week, I guess. My son writing that, and but that's kind of.
I know. I talked to a couple other people, and they were saying the same thing like you too. People that have done it through generations and family and stuff. I'm just in Central California. Look at our producer Archie. I mean, you're talking about generations of people that put in years. More than probably a lot of those people on that board.
It's kind of sad that and for lack of a better word, they kind of cheapened the tournament for the boys and not giving the girls the benefit of having a bigger chance and a bigger way to go.
Yeah, it's exactly kind of what happened, and then they say that it's not about money, which okay, I can understand logistically. 3 days, it is more money to have the tournament there. Some people don't understand some of those things, but really what they came back and said was they didn't purchase the extra set of awards not because of money issues, because it was going to be a time factor, because they have to build the bracket as it goes. You know what I mean? Put the little labels on, so they were upset. We weren't going to have enough time to put the girl ones together, so we eliminated the boy ones. It was a lot of things they did. They used to have a nice, beautiful program that they would that you give us a keepsake, you know what I mean, and it usually talked about all the it had a preview in it of the boys and the weight classes and stuff, and they eliminated the program and the preview because no one provided a girls preview. So So they said, well, since we don't have a girls preview, we're not going to do the boys one. So it was, but they had a year to plan this. You know what I mean? So you couldn't find somebody within over a year that could have wrote a girls preview. I would have wrote a girls preview if that would have been the case. You know what I mean? I could have done it. I could have done it for them. So I think it was just poor planning on their part, and logistically they just weren't ready for the task. And at the end of the day, the people that suffered were the kids mostly, and then obviously the coaches, coaches and things like that were kind of upset.
Your send off as a senior, you end up this way, and you're expecting, you've basically
people look all year for that. To get to that point.
And at the end of the day, like, my son was the most vocal kid about it. You know what I mean? But he did that because he feels like other people are counting on him to speak up and speak out because that's what because that's the type of kid he is. But really, ultimately, Jace doesn't really care about awards and trophies and stuff like that. He's all about the competition. I mean, he's gonna wrestle this weekend, and he doesn't have to be wrestling, but he wants to go compete. He just loves to wrestle and enjoy the sport. So
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. They do that, and actually, I was at a board meeting today for football, and some of the stuff that's gonna go on for our little guys that are going on. I mean, because they build the league, basically our feeders to the high schools, So now Lindsay posted, come and play for Lindsay, and remember, you don't have to live in Lindsay to play. Right. How does that work?
Well, the sanctioning body over there, you can just transfer over. If I want to play in Lemoore, go play in Lemoore. Wherever you want your kid to go. And it's not like at a high school level, where, if something's happening bad at this high school, they transfer out, and they have to sit for 6 months. With their little kids, they just want to make it so they can go play, and it's just that's a whole issue and problem that's going to start coming up. So
we try to do that. With my grandsons, and it's hilarious that now you guys are union because we're in that district union, and that's exactly. And we were going to play for Visalia. We were going to play with Rangers, and they said, "You guys live in Visalia or Tulare? How's your kids gonna?" I go, "Dude, these guys are selling money." It don't matter. They're gonna be good or
anytime there's sports, there's gonna be politics. And that's the problem.
But that's what I'm not. It is. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, 559Fights coming up, man. Kick off the new year. It looks you got the headliners, girls headline.
We kind of finished off last year. We took a little bit of break at the beginning of this year, trying to regroup and come up with some different. I think every company kind of goes through that little stage where they get a little stagnant, and you're trying to figure out like, what could I do to be a little different or set us apart, or maybe it's not even being different, but just some different things that you need to add, And I've always kind of felt like you need to adapt and change with the times. You know what I mean? For a while there, I think I was kind of stubborn and kind of set in my ways that I wanted to do things a certain way. Like, I had over the last 6 years of doing this, I've had people all the time ask for grappling matches or things of that nature, and I was like, man, I'm just doing amateur MMA, man. I'm just gonna focus on that. I've had so many people ask me to do pro fights. I don't want to do pro fights. I just want to do amateur MMA. I just want to focus on my craft and just get better in like this certain area, And I think that with that stubbornness, maybe we kind of got a little bit stale and kind of got away from being a little exciting at times. And some people say, oh, it's oversaturation because you do so many fights. And I don't necessarily think that it's oversaturation. I'm just providing an event every week. The movies are out every week. You know what I mean? Ice skating's out every week. Whatever it is that you choose to go to it or not to go to it. I'm always right around 8 to 13 fights. You know what I mean? So I can't say that it's oversaturation in the sense that I'm only offering 4 fights one weekend, 1 month, and 10 fights the next month. Like we're always pretty right on. In the fan base is pretty consistent, but Mike Moreno has been talking to me a lot lately. He was talking to me, just picking my brain about business-wise about events just in general, and he's been wanting to do like a grappling series, and we've talked about it and stuff. Probably on and off for like the last 6 to 8 months, and then it was just, I just thought maybe throwing something a little bit different with our fights would, considering they're amateur, would be beneficial for the area, because I know there's a big explosion of guys doing grappling now, and a lot of them, I understand that a couple times a year there'll be some events here, but there's nothing really on a consistent basis locally, you know what I mean, where guys can get out and do that. So me and Mike came up with this idea where we're just gonna do 4 to 5 kind of like grappling super fights per 559 Fights event that we have, and then we'll just stagger the fights. Like we'll do 3 fights, then we'll do a grappling match. It'll kind of be like an intermission for the MMA people. So instead of having an intermission and you're just sitting there looking at a blank cage, you know what I mean, there'll be grappling going on during that time, and then vice versa. Like for the people that are interested in the grappling side, they can take off during the, go get their beers and their nachos during the MMA portion. You know what I mean? Or kind of mix it up a little bit, And we're just gonna do this first year. I committed to Mike to do this first year project, and if it's something that catches on, next year we have some cool ideas. We'll integrate belts, we'll integrate tournaments, we'll integrate, like dojo versus dojo type stuff.
I like that.
Yeah, we'll integrate those things, but we're just gonna first kind of test pilot through this first year just to see if how it catches on. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty excited to be trying to dabble into something a little bit different. You know what I mean? Obviously, the MMA is still gonna be the bread and butter of the show. You know what I mean? We're obviously still gonna feature the fights, and that's gonna be the highlight of the event. But I expect for the grappling to come in and do some different stuff.
With your show, you always have. I like every time I think of your show, I know you're gonna have 10 fights. Like it's pretty much locked. It's gonna be at least 10 fights.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think having a monthly show, because there's so many amateurs that are never gonna progress any farther than they just want to try it out, or and you're given an avenue to do that. And with the amount of shows that you do have, it gives a wider variety of people in different schools to go and be like, hey, my guy says he can.
Right.
But now introducing the grappling, because there's some guys that just jiu-jitsu only, they're never gonna fight.
Right.
But it gives them another opportunity to be seen. And I mean, jiu-jitsu in the valley has been growing exponentially, and you're giving them an avenue to be seen. And dojo versus dojo, and like small ideas like that. I mean, we'll grow up into that. I mean, it brings back the old school, my school, your school, and so you can bring 6, 7 guys to have that showdown, and that's more exciting to me than anything I've seen in a long time.
Right. And I've already had some questions about kind of like crossover stuff. You know what I mean? Like, well, what if a guy wants to do a grappling match and an MMA fight in one night? Can they do that? You know what I mean? And it's like the answer is yes, they can. You know what I mean?
Logistically, it's up to him.
It's. I checked with Camo. It's cool. The rules are okay with it. You'd probably have to have them fight first, grapple second, obviously. You know what I mean? But there is going to be some interesting scenarios. But I think what it also does is it's going to promote MMA to the jiu-jitsu competitors, and it's going to promote jiu-jitsu to the MMA competitors, to where maybe a guy that's a consistent MMA fighter wants to stay busy, but doesn't want to actually fist fight every month. You know what I mean? But now he could fight 1 month, the next month get involved in the grappling, fight the next month, and vice versa. Maybe a heavy jiu-jitsu guy is like, oh man, I'm interested in fighting maybe once or twice throughout the year, but I can grapple on six events too, or when other I also look at it as like, I understand that there's other grappling events that come into town. You know what I mean? Well, hopefully now, like, we can help prepare some of these guys to do well on those events. You know what I mean? Just like 559 Fights is to prepare guys to go on to Tachi Palace, or prepare them to fight in Bellator or Combates, whatever comes into the LFA, whatever comes into the area. So I'm kind of excited to be working with Mike, on that. I mean, I don't know if I talked to you guys when I started, when I brought Antoine Hood on to help matchmake, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of moving more into like a leadership role, and not so much micromanaging and like I used to be. I'm kind of wanting to help grow and expand some other people, and that's kind of exciting for me, because I feel like that's what Christian, Richard, and Jacob did for me, and now I'm able to kind of help guys like Mike and Antoine, and
I mean, there's going to be other people that are going to start getting involved, help them grow so that they can get some experience on the business side of MMA and promoting and matchmaking and things like that. So I'm actually kind of really excited about that aspect, and I haven't been super excited about like certain things about my job in a long time. So I feel like reinvigorated, and we're changing up the logo a little bit. We're doing some different things, kind of like not rebranding in a way, because I feel like we have a great brand, but just to show like, hey, we're
doing that. I mean, we're going through it ourselves too. It's in a short period of time, but it's kind of like that. You make your initial investment, and then you're always continue to try to refine it, because you want that longevity, and you do that not just because, well, it's time for a change, but it's an impulse, and that's what creates.
I mean, with the people you had that helped you out at the beginning, I mean, with Christian, Richard, I mean, their guys are established everywhere now. So I mean, you see Christian back in New York, and he's doing huge things. And now you're actually in a position where you can you're going to a leadership role, and you can direct the ship, but you have people that have fresh ideas, new things, and like, hey, wait a minute, stuff you're never going to think about. And if you've been doing it for 6 years nonstop, I mean, that's hard.
And it's really dope, because like, people think I'm really not that approachable, you know what I mean? And they kind of think I'm a jerk because I got a scowl on my face, and I try to tell people like, I just have a scowl, you know what I mean? It's not that I'm upset, but Antoine and Mike both are two people that were able to see past that, and like you said, come to me and say, hey, we have these ideas, we would like to partner with you on doing some different things. So it was like, for me, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, like I like these new ideas, I like some of these things. It was exciting, and I'm super pumped, you know what I mean, to do some different stuff, because I feel like from the very beginning we wanted to brand 559Fights as a company, as an event, right? We didn't really, people always ask like, oh man, why don't you put fighters on your poster, or like, why don't you? I mean, we recently went to putting action shots, but not, we never really put, guy versus guy on the posters. Maybe 1 or 2 times we've done that, out of 70 events, but it's really, we wanted to brand 559Fights. So I wanted to take, like, obviously you need fighters to sell tickets, obviously, to function, but I didn't want it to be like, well, that's the only way that we can function. I wanted to try to build the brand so that people are like, oh, 559Fights is next Thursday, and they weren't messaging like, well, who's on the fight card? You know what I mean? They were just like, oh, we know there's gonna be good fights, so let's go watch the fights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that with us branding that way, you know what I mean, and now adding in this jiu-jitsu thing, it's gonna just continue to grow MMA overall in the valley. Whereas you get because there's lots of politics in our area, especially, and it's like you go through these cycles where you're really cool with a gym owner and a team at one point, and then 6 months later, they don't want to talk to you anymore. So I've had gyms that were like heavily featured in a lot of our events, and then now they're boycotting. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm like, look, man, the show goes on. You know what I mean? Like, I would love for each and every gym to be a part of our events. I think that it's a way to market their gyms. You know what I mean? It's a way to market their fighters and stuff like that. But I can't force people to do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, we're gonna go on. If I gotta bring guys in from out of the area to fight, then I bring guys in from out of the area to fight. A lot of times those guys sell more tickets than the guys that are here locally.
Yeah, and they'll bring a caravan of people,
So it's I want to do what's best for our area, and I want to market as many gyms as possible. I mean, and I'll say here on camera too, I told these gym guys like, hey man, let me help your business. Like, you're putting 3 guys on a card, you know what I mean? Do you guys want to set up a booth? You know what I mean? Do you guys want to, what can I do to help your gym at the fights? You know what I mean? If I can do it, you know what I mean, I will do it. You know what I mean? Because you're helping us too. I want to give back. So we're just gonna try a bunch of different stuff this year. I mean, you're gonna see some stuff. We're probably gonna have to tweak the jiu-jitsu stuff a few times over throughout the year, but hopefully we get it dialed in, and it's fun and exciting for guys. I mean, it's gonna be a paid type situation. You know what I mean? where they're not going to get paid, you know, a bunch of money, but they're going to get paid a little bit of money for their time, because you can pay the jiu-jitsu guys, you know what I mean? They are going to be super fights, you know what I mean? Where it's, you know, you get a certain amount of money for a submission, you know what I mean? You get a certain amount of money for your ticket sales, you know. So there's going to be, you know, it's just a way to kind of give back to the community. And I want to work with all the gyms, and some gyms don't have fight, you know, Tom Knox, me and Tom Knox are close, you know what I mean? But his gym doesn't have a lot of fighters right now, you know, and he's just like, well, I wish I could give you guys, but I can't. But you can give me jiu-jitsu guys now, you know what I mean? So it's like, so it's another avenue to open up and work with some great gyms, you know what I mean? And you know, I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm pretty excited for Mike and Antoine to be working on some different.
And those are two really likable guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you always had a scowl on your face. I mean, we talk. I've been fighting one of your fighters. Now I'm like, hey, what's up, Jeremy? And I know you have a million other things going on. You got your fighter, and then you have fights coming up. And I've never took that away from you. I mean, we stayed friends the whole entire time. And your fight was against a guy that I brought in a corner.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's been good the entire time. But Antoine and Mike, they're two separate characters that draw to two separate people, which is just going to build your brand, which is a huge. I mean, I think it's one of the best strategic moves that I've seen a company do in the Valley, because Antoine, just talking to him,
they're both knowledgeable guys.
He's knowledgeable, but he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He has, and that's awesome. I mean, from the get-go, anyways, 559 Fights. I mean, I've been to a lot of different fights, a lot of places, but I've never seen dull fights there. You know, I don't go off this often like I used to, but I never have. So, and I know during those early days, people were talking against. I was in the mix, and they were saying, "Oh man, it's gonna saturate it, and they're blah blah blah, and they're not gonna have no product to be able to put on our show and stuff like that." But every show was exciting.
Right.
If they're gonna be boring, it would have happened.
Yeah.
You know.
And the thing that sucks about that is that, with the politics and stuff, it's really just a lack of communication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that if like more, you know, I set my schedule in November, December, the year before, for the entire year. It's right there on Camo. You know what I mean? And at any point, if someone was trying to do a show in the area and they came to me and said, "Hey man, like, I can't work any other date but this. Is there something, like, can you move a week?" I mean, you know, I would try to do what I can to accommodate without cutting my foot off. You know what I mean? You know, or even like, hey, you know, I know that this is your champion, but he's a big ticket seller in my region. How about I throw you a couple guys? You know what I mean? Right. There's just ways to conduct business, and I think, you know, for whatever reason, and I'm not saying that I was always an innocent party in it, you know what I mean? I think for whatever reason that, you know, like a lot of guys in the area, especially, they don't really get along, and they don't really, they're not really doing what's best for MMA in the community. They're doing what's best for them. And that's not to say that I didn't get caught up in that at some point too, but I like to think, like, in each instance that I've ever had, I've always had a meeting with that person and tried to talk to them to try to resolve issues, and 100% of the time it ended up not being resolved, or we just didn't see eye to eye on certain issues or matters, you know what I mean? But it really, like, I keep telling people, man, like, way back in the day, like when I first started, there was 8 Tachi Palace fights. You know, when it wasn't Tachi Palace, there was WCs and Palace Fighting Champions. There was 8 of those a year at Tachi. Yep. There was 4 or 5 fights up in Porterville, whether it was Gladiator Challenge or Warriors Cage. Plus you had Pure Combat at a time doing 3 or 4 fights a year. I'm like, and the reason why it was successful at that time was because the fighters, the coaches, they were doing things the right way. They would step on the scale, they'd make weight. They were honorable to each other. They sold tickets. You know, they understood that ticket selling was a part of the business for the greater good of everybody else. You didn't have a bunch of people that were me all the time, and I'm not selling 10 tickets, but I need 3 hotel rooms, and I need 2 cases of water in my room, and I know I'm only 2 and 4, but I need to fight for a title, and I know you're only supposed to have 2 cornermen, but I need 4 cornermen because I need, my brother in the back and my cameraman, like, and I'm just like, oh man, like, the times have changed so much, it's like it doesn't make it's not even about making the business profitable anymore. It's about like losses now. You know what I mean? Shows were taking such big losses that promoters were just like, man, F this. Like, I'm not losing money. You know, and then people are sitting back like, oh, well, this is messed up. Like, you know, like, well, there's no more shows in our area no more. And I'm like, yeah, man, you don't sell no tickets, bro. You know what I mean? But you ask for 50 free tickets, you know, or XYZ business. You know what I mean? They want a free booth at the event instead of spending money for the event, and they don't understand that like it's a circulation of money, right? You know, you guys sponsor the 559Fights, and the 559Fights is going to help try to give back in a certain way to get you some money, and it's just a revolving door. It can't be a one-way door though. It doesn't work that way, you know. So I think that's kind of what got our valley in kind of a little bit of. We're in a slump, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that we can't come out of the slump though. No. You know? But
I think different branding and stuff that you're doing now and outreaching, because MMA fans typically don't study the sport like jiu-jitsu guys do, and introduce now the jiu-jitsu stuff like you're doing will bring the MMA fans to understand that them rolling around on the ground is not boring. There's some setups and some stuff happening there, you know, that the education on that I think will just grow the level of MMA in the area. And with young fighters, I mean, the generation that's coming up, it's hard to not have me.
Right.
And
but it's being coached, man, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like coaches need to start putting their foot down. Right. You know what I mean? And I understand it's hard because it's hard to run a business these days. It's hard to keep your doors open, so it's tough to be hard on someone because you don't want them to leave and take their money to someplace else. But at the end of the day, those values and stuff like that were taught way back in the day in mixed martial arts, if they're not re-taught to the younger generation, then you can't, you know, they don't understand that Conor McGregor wasn't Conor McGregor until he got to the UFC. Right. Before that, he was putting in work. You know what I mean? They don't understand that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They don't understand the work that certain people did before they got to the big show. They just see that, and I keep trying to tell people, well, the 559Fights is not the big show. I mean, it's a place for you to learn. You should go there and lose. You should go there, you know what I mean, and experience things that you're going to experience at the professional level to try to get better. That's all it's really a tool for. I can't do that. I can't provide that service without making some money. You know what I mean? So obviously you have to sell tickets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because it's illegal to do what some people have done and throw gym wars and then, you know, it's you know, if you want to break the law and try to get away with it, go ahead. But you know, I'm not gonna do it. You know, so I'm just really excited, man. It's gonna be a fun year. March 16th, we kick off the first event. I think we have 4 jiu-jitsu matches on tap right now. We're trying to add 5th. I got 15 fights, I think, right now too. Obviously,
there'll be some attrition.
Obviously, with amateur MMA, like I always start at like between 15 and 20 fights, and you know, with you know, especially these next 2 weeks coming up, where medical deadlines are next week, so you'll see, you know, 3 or 4 guys probably pull out from not getting medicals finished in time or whatever, and then fight week, obviously 4 or 5 guys get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, it should be you know, you should see upwards of 15, 16, 17 bouts now with the inclusion of that. We're super excited to have Maritza Sanchez back. She won an award with you guys. I believe. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's gonna come back. She's gonna fight for our bantamweight title against a rising star from the Southern California area, Montenegro. You know what I mean? We got Enoch McCordle, who you know, he fought for us a couple. I want to say he's been out for over a year. He fought for us a couple times, and he took some time off he was doing some schooling and stuff like that. He wanted to focus on school and stuff, but he was still in the gym. He's coming back. You know, he's gonna fight a kid named Daniel Alvarez out of Irvine, who trains at Oyamos, who's another exciting fighter.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, so you know, that's another exciting fight. Jaime Moro Munoz, who fought on, you know, he fought on our Porterville show that one time. He fought Paulo Elizondo for a title, I believe. He was a hot flyweight for a while. He lost and he took some time off, and now he's coming back to fight. So we got him in an exciting bout. So, you know, Kathy Solozano from Bakersfield, she's coming up. Sal Bruno, I believe, is on the card as well. So we got, you know, plus we we got a good bunch of up and coming local guys that are just kind of getting their feet wet. We got the Perez brothers, AJ and Sebranio out of Fresno. We got some local guys here and there. Some new blood that's coming in. You know what I mean? We're always trying to get some new faces and stuff like that. But I'm super excited.
Kicking off the new year solid, man, and that's good. And like I said, I'm glad we're going to be a part of it. I know we had like a little meeting here where we could toss some deals, make more investments, and do all that too. So, and I know we got some things up our sleeve too that we want to do, to get to that next level, the way the community should be known, and brought the attention of what you guys do, and to help support me. Basically, that's what it's all about. We want to get the word out for each community that you guys visit and what's available during that time. I mean, the year it's a solid. I feel it's going to be a really good year. We got a lot of things that we want to project, and I'm glad we're going to be.
How many shows do you have going this year?
Well, it'll be 10. So we took the first 2 months off this year.
Yeah, when everyone's going from here on out.
And for all of you people that like the outdoor events, I know there's a lot of people here that really like outdoor MMA. And like it's really, really tough logistically, but I know people love it for whatever reason. But we will be going back to Rawhide this year. It sounds like. So we'll do one show at Rawhide. I'm just waiting to for the contract and everything, but it sounds like we're all in agreement on all the details and everything. So we'll head back to Rawhide, do a show there. I'm pretty excited about that. And then we'll stay at Visalia Convention Center. I don't know if you guys were able to check out the Rainbow Ballroom. But I was super impressed with that venue.
I've seen pictures. That looked awesome. It's a classic place.
It was a really, really nice place to do fights. Logistically, we still got some stuff to figure out as far as dressing rooms and stuff like that. We got to try to accommodate the fighters a little bit better in that area. But the fan experience was super dope there. It was a really nice. It's downtown Fresno. We want to give back to those areas and stuff like that if we can. So so those are the venues we're looking at being at this year. Should be a fun year. So starting in March, we're just sprinting all the way until December. One a month all the way, and usually we take a break in the middle somewhere. But we just took the first 2 months off this year to kind of regroup, revamp, and it's all the way around. We got a bunch of new sponsors that are like new to the MMA industry. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a new look all the way around.
Nice. So this is gonna be the first show that Antoine doing?
No, Antoine worked with me on the December and October events too.
But it was you guys together, right?
But it's still us together. But I'm slowly giving him a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more rope each time. And he's doing a great job. I know that I'm probably kind of bothersome sometimes because I'm used to doing it myself. You know what I mean? So, I text him a whole bunch, and he's probably like, "Man, wish this guy would leave me alone." But you know what I mean? He's doing a good job, man. He's coming up with different. It's cool because he's coming up with different names and different teams and stuff like that that I wasn't reaching before. You know what I mean? So collaboration of all that mixing together is real, and vice versa. He knows jiu-jitsu guys too and stuff like that, so he can bounce those ideas off of Mike. Mike's obviously involved in MMA too, so he can. So it's kind of like we have a nice mix between the three of us of guys that are kind of knowledgeable in the area. And, it's fun.
I'm glad that it reaches farther now because it actually gives more amateur guys a chance to participate and jiu-jitsu guys to participate with. Because there's not a ton of quality fights, and your fights are always a good quality fight. The matchmaking's done well, and I've seen them where they're excited, and the matches look good, and sometimes it goes one-sided because the guy didn't represent what he was. But when you start reaching out farther, you can bring more things in, which helps the brand.
I've had this conversation with a lot of people. It's really difficult. There's so many variables, and when it comes to matchmaking, so many variables. You know what I mean? You got to get X amount of guys from this team on, and there's just certain weights, or I don't want to fight that guy because he's 2 inches too tall. And hey man, I'm 18 and this guy's 35. It's just there's so many variables involved in matchmaking. It makes it kind of crazy and tough at times. You try to do the best that you can to put fair bouts does it always happen that way? No, you know what I mean. Like, but I can say I never intentionally like try to like put a mismatch together. You know what I mean? That's not what I think amateur MMA is really about. You know what I mean? But it happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Because sometimes two people have beef. You know what I mean? And they're just like, it gets to a point where it's like you can't. I can't avoid it any other way. Like when there's two guys and they're saying we'll only fight each other, and I'm like, that's not a fair fight. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just you roll with it. You know what I mean? And try to do the best you can.
That chicken going factor.
You know,
sometimes it doesn't work out for you. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, it happens. I mean, it'd be silly for me to sit here and say like, oh, there's never been no fair fights or lopsided matchups. Like, I mean, it happens. But is it, you know, last minute replacements for one? You know, like oh man, like, you know, sometimes it happens and you just gotta throw somebody in there. Wasn't the plan in mind, you know what I mean? But this is what's available at the time. You know, there's been times where I said, man, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like that's very safe, or it's not a good look. You know, so I'm teaching Antoine that portion of it because he really doesn't know. You know what I mean? Sometimes he'll come to me with an idea, and I'm like, hey man, like that 6-2 guy can't fight this 2 and 4 guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, well, yeah, but they want to fight each other. And I'm just like, hey man, it's not a good look. Let's try to, you know, we could get both of those guys on the card and switch it up a different way. You know, so we're both learning together. You know, and he's like, you know, he brings a lot of good ideas to the table and stuff. It's super fun.
So, any super matches that you released on the jiu-jitsu side yet?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't bring it on my phone, and I'm not as knowledgeable as I should be. Kind of in that area to release the names or whatever. But you know, Mike did do a good job and put 4 matches together so far. You know, to my understanding, he has some. From what he's told me, he's really excited about some April matchups that he has with some great local people. But you know, I think it's awesome too because now we're going to see some of these coaches kind of get in there.
Yeah, right.
Too. You know,
cool.
Like I will announce like in April we're most likely going to have Jacob Jeff in the cage grappling.
Oh my God!
So you know what I mean.
Cool,
so you get to see some cool stuff like that. He did text me this morning. He told me he wanted to do it. You know what I mean. So you know,
that's awesome.
you know, just being able to give some ability to. Maybe we get Tom Knox in there at some point. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe Mark De La Cruz comes in and does something sometime. You know, I don't know. Hopefully we can get Angel to do something. You know, at some point. You know, like you know, get some of these guys. You know, because they've been running around with the fighters and stuff like that for so long, and they're creating their own personas within the valley and stuff. And some of the guys have no idea, like, what does that guy even know? You know, well, I'm gonna show you what he knows right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he even knows how to break a neck. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think the MMA community would be shocked how high level jiu-jitsu guys are out there.
Well, they don't understand that at all. Yeah,
and it's, I mean, Tom Knox is master of the world. No, he's ranked 3rd right now or 2nd. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
You got Angel, who's just insane. He's gone 6 in a row, and you get some of these coaches, and it'll earn a respect because they coach their fighters to do this, but they are at that level. They're legit.
And I totally understand. Like, this is like well below standard of what they're used to doing. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying it's an avenue for if they wanted to do it and compete locally at home in front of their crowd and show somebody something. You know what I mean? I know it would be, you know, like an NFL player playing, you know, pick up football on the side of the road or something. You know what I mean? Like,
they still do it.
You know what I mean? Like,
what a good way to market your school, man. You're an instructor.
And
this guy's.
I was going to say that it goes back to branding your school, and why would they? I mean,
it's an opportunity, and it's marketing. Whether guys do it or don't do it, we're still gonna do events. You know what I mean? I love to be able to help these guys out in any way that I can. If it helps brand their school, great. If it doesn't have any they don't think that it has any value, I understand too. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's a lot of these guys that'll just go to another school just to roll.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully it comes out and it's something fun and everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, it should be. But just like anything else, at first you're gonna hear everybody blah blah blah, and then after it hooks on, everybody's gonna be a part of it. You know, like that too. But I think it'd be good to see Tom Knox and Dan Camarillo get in there. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I have enough money to make it happen, but
the internet would get crashed.
Yeah. You know? We get social media pushing, they get a little head, go in.
Yeah. You know, maybe it is a thing. You know, next year when we do dojo versus dojo, maybe the main event of that is
Yeah.
coaches squaring off or something. I don't know, man. We can do some fun stuff together. I mean, it's a matter of having some open minds and doing some different stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I want to get as many people involved in as many different things that we're doing. I mean, I've had a lot of people hit me up to do like intern work or just be around to kind of figure out like what it takes, do street team stuff, whatever it is. I'm open to guys helping out in any way, shape, or form, and try to figure something out.
It's impressive that because I mean you started writing,
newspaper,
and then you to this point.
So I was really offended earlier whenever Chris said that Damien was the best sports writer in the area, and I was thinking of my headline.
I was there.
Because
I was there,
bro.
I didn't.
Stop.
I didn't get it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just playing. He was really, really good, but
he didn't get. I didn't get his part, and I'll go ahead and retract because I know him as the project, not so much as the sports writer.
Yeah.
You know that part, of it, and that's the only reason. But
No, Damien is really good, to be honest.
And then Damien reached to write for me too, so no prejudice. But no, he got into that, and Jeremy. I mean, even now, a lot of people, unless they were in that little circle, didn't realize he did that as well. So
But I mean,
that was his.
where you started from and being here. I mean, the amount of people that are asking to be part of it.
Yeah.
Did you see this coming? I mean, was that something you were like, I want to start my own thing and grow it to this point, or is it? I mean, is this?
I don't think you see that stuff coming. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, there's some people that say,
no, I never thought that I would be involved in this. You know what I mean? It was literally like a phone call. You know what I mean? Like I picked up the phone one day and Christian Printemps on the other line, like, hey, I have this idea, and I'm like, what? You do MMA at the Palace? You've been doing it there for like 2 or 3 years? Like, I never heard of anything out there. Like I never thought about it. But with that being said, seeing the way that Christian Printemps and Jacob Jeff and these guys are, with like how many people will respect them and how they're like the tree, you know what I mean? That, you see these football coaches and then they have this tree of this lineage of, you know what I mean? So like I'm just a branch off of Christian and Jacob, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so now I'm branching off, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? So I guess at the time I never saw it coming, but they kind of molded me into being that way, you know what I mean? So again, I never do a single interview without mentioning Christian's name. I just can't do it, But like like those guys are to me they're Reed Harris, all those guys, they're like legends, you know what I mean? And I didn't work with Reed very much, but I learned a lot from watching him in the short time that I did. Jacob and Christian and all these people, like, so I guess that's my, they paid it forward, and now I'm doing the same, So eventually I can move off to New York and run a casino, some shit, like, you know what I mean, like
that big ass casino.
Yeah, and post pictures of all this amazing food all the time. Like, come on, man.
It's a horrible lifestyle he's living right now. It's bad.
Yeah. So it's great, man. I enjoy that part. I think it's I never thought about it like that, but it's kind of cool. I'm in that lineage of Christian people that worked under Christian.
Those are big names.
That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Good deals that came out of that, and just you made on pay for it, like you're saying, with internships. There's because MMA is a sport, yes, but it's becoming a career path. Not just the fighting side of it, but the aspect of learning the back. And not a lot of people know the back side of it.
I don't think people understand. You know what I mean? And they just they think like they see all these people there, and they're like they think like, oh, you're making so much money. If you only knew how much this costs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you only knew how much money I lost a man.
Right.
They don't understand. And I don't expect them to. That's for me to deal with and work through. But I'm just super excited, man. Like I feel like 3 years ago we were kicking butt. Like I feel like we were at our peak, but it goes through waves, man. Like that was when we had the Sandors, the Evan Solarios, the Art Hernandez. We had that group of dudes, Mason Fowler. Like we had this group of guys that were like super like into fighting and super into selling tickets and marketing themselves. And I started to get that group back again. I started to get a group back again like that, and then they all decided to go kind of a different way, But it's you have guys like like the Avalos brothers, Albert Gonzalez. You know what I mean? You have some of these guys that are really good at marketing themselves, and they're kind of starting to do things the right way, and and Anthony Aguilar, the Paul Elizondos, like those guys. So they're that group's kind of coming back, but we need more of them. We need 20, 30 of those types of guys, and you'll be surprised. Like then you'll see places like Tachi, Porterville, some of these places. 559Fights will be like, oh yeah, I want to do pro fights. You know what I mean? Like it's not about so much about making money; it's about not losing money. Right. You know what I mean? And you'll see like, okay, yeah, well, if we can put 10 guys on a card that are going to show up on time,
on weight,
sell tickets, put on great fights, then it's worth it to do that. You know what I mean?
It's amazing that you've been doing this for 6 years and you've had a ton of fights out there.
That's fast.
And everybody sees that what you do, and you're like, oh, he's got to make me a ton of money. I mean, he just started here and he's here now. It's a straight line. But nobody ever sees the sleepless nights, the 4 a.m. dumb shit that happens. Fight week, I don't think you sleep. I mean, it's
really 4 a.m. the day of the fight is the worst. You get calls from certain people like their tires exploded, or they're in the hospital, in the emergency room.
Three baby mamas got issues, and
it is what it is. But guys,
you gotta go and check out, boss.
Yeah, I got my little daughter's doing a play, and
trust me.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna.
Hey, you gotta take
I don't get a chance to be around the girls too much during wrestling season because my son takes up all my time. So it's been great.
It was a good opportunity for you taking the time, man. And like I said, I'm looking forward for this year.
I'd like to get a show in the future where I can have Antoine and Mike on with me. Though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
I think
that'd be
just let Archie
even
go.
if it was without me. You know what I mean?
Make it work.
Those guys are awesome. They did it.
We get closer to the 16th and get it together. That sounds good to me.
All right.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Archie.
All right, take it easy, guys. Have fun on the rest of
For sure.
Right on.
So we got
a huge weekend in UFC, dude. That's a stacked card.
That's scary though. I mean,
John Jones, man.
He's already popped positive.
Anthony Smith. He's already been popped twice already again.
And he did escape release today. He got popped positive for
2 times, twice. And then you got Tyrone Woodley, man.
Yeah, he's fighting
against Usman. And then you got Ben Askren, man.
The free agent came in, man.
Lawler. I mean, dude, the whole card's it's a stacked card. If you're not don't have my app, you guys are dumb. I could hook you up within the next 2 days.
Even without the app, just the fact that those 3 fights, those 3 fights are worth the money.
Oh yeah,
they
but
really are.
There's actually probably there's a lot of good fights on there, but I mean, there's I think a total of 5 on the main card that are all.
I mean, when is the last time you saw a Lawler fight that wasn't amazing?
Oh no, I mean,
and then you got Ben Askren, who's just trying to prove something back because the UFC kicked him out and said, "Now you're not needed."
And it's kind of cool. And I never really paid attention to him before, but now it's like, dude, I like this guy's personality. He's just a cool.
I think it was ahead of the time with the way he was cocky and coming off, and then you got Conor McGregor, who's the king of cocky, and he bridged the gap for a lot of guys that talk trash but can back it.
Yeah.
I mean, talking trash and backing it. It was a lost art for a long time because you look at Muhammad Ali, he just ran his mouth nonstop, but he could do it. Yeah. And then you got Ben Askren coming in, and he knows he's better than people. Yeah. And to put him against Lawler first, I mean, for me, that's UFC going. If you're that badass, then you got to walk through Lawler. And
what's good because Lawler is a wrestler too, but he likes striking.
He's like a Hendo, man. He's got hands of stone.
So that's why he said, man, I'd rather just take you out versus wrestling. So it's going to be good. I'm excited for that. I think that's probably really the fight that I'm looking forward to. John Jones, I don't know. Something tells me something's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be gravy.
John Jones popped positive for what he was, a Turnbull again for Orly, but that stuff stays in your system for like over a year. And so I mean, I don't negate the fact that he probably did juice up to stay on top of his, but I think he's off of it. And the amount that he has in the system is not enough to do anything for him. But he's stepping in, and if he loses, it puts a lot of questions for me because DC has been getting dominated by John Jones every single time. Yeah. And if Jones gets beat by Smith, and that opens a lot of questions for the 205. because DC to me he's a champ, yeah, but he keeps that with his roadblock. You know, it's always
tonight, man.
But is it because John Jones has gotten his head that many times because he talks a lot of trash, or is John Jones that much better than him? I mean, if John Jones gets stopped by Smith, I mean, the fight I want to see automatic is.
But it could be like they always say too. There's always that one fighter you can't beat. You know, and there could be something like styles makes fights. So his style could be so unorthodox, Smith, where he don't give a shit. I'm not intimidated. Where a lot of guys when they fight John Jones, a lot of them are already they lose or they're already giving up.
Yeah, I've been here. John Jones, he's a great fighter. He's a beast when it comes to fighting, but he's lanky. He's got so much range and the athletic ability.
Yeah,
I mean,
he'd be hard.
So I mean, that main event is a good main event. I mean, even with the drama, with the drugs and all that stuff.
But a 14-1 odd.
Yeah, I saw that. That doesn't.
That's like Anthony Smith said. She can put a dead body and get better odds than that.
I got on one of my sites and I put a bet down and I took Smith because I mean the odds by itself.
I always like the underdog too. I always do it, so I gotta make that right tomorrow.
It's something you got to do on that. I mean, but I honestly think that Smith has something for him, you know, and it's not going to be the typical John Jones. He's fast sprinting and then all over the place and then on top of you. Yeah. I think Smith's going to make him grind, and I think Smith.
I hope it's a good fight. You know, I hope it's an exciting fight, but dang, there's a lot of good fights on this card. We've been waiting for a while, man.
This our Lawler Askren fight. That's my go-to fight.
What do you think about Woodley and Usman?
You know, Usman. I mean, I fought his brother. You know, but Usman's a wild card that he's freakishly strong for his size, and he's fast. But Woodley, if Woodley stays to his game, I think Woodley's going to take the win.
Because knock him out.
It's a big question. I don't know.
I know, man. I mean, like today they sized up face off. I didn't realize how big Usman is to him.
Usman, I honestly.
Tall.
My biggest thing though is Usman is always close to being all weight. I mean, he's got to hit weight on this for the fight to go through.
Yeah.
And he is bigger across the board, but I think he's probably 15 pounds heavier than Woodley right now. So I mean, that's gonna be a good cut.
You gotta weigh in tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Tomorrow morning.
I'm on pins and needles on that to see what the actual official results are before they do the flash at 4 o'clock. But I got Smith. I got Smith and the John Jones. I just more of a sleeper pick. You know, the smart money would always be betting on Jones, but I think Smith has got a little more than what John Jones is going to give him respect. Because John Jones, I think his downfall is he tends to look past people that don't have a name.
Yeah.
And so Smith doesn't have the name that's branded across the board. You know, a lot of people that watch MMA that are not super into it don't even know who he is. But I honestly believe that John Jones probably is not taking this fight as seriously as he should. You think he's going to push this together to get to the next guy?
Yeah. And to me, well, obviously you got to give the edge to John Jones. I'm going to favor John Jones, but just something tells me it's just that law of average, like his numbers coming up.
Right.
You know, like every so many fights, there's an upset.
Right.
I think he's due.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not, but I don't know. There's this something's different, man, in March.
What do you got for Woodley and Usman? What are you thinking on that?
I think Woodley's gonna knock him out.
I think Usman's gonna grind him, and I think he's gonna outwork him.
That would be nice. He's a good dude. We got to meet him here and talk to him. Just got close to him, you know, and his brother, obviously. But
I think Usman.
Yeah, I would like, but I think Woodley's gonna catch him. I don't know. He every time he has his fights, man, he goes and puts in work. It's like he has something to prove to everybody.
But a lot of times with Woodley's, he catches people when they're either out of position or they're tired and they got that jaw drop. And I think Usman's going to be able to stay together and chase the fight down. And there's never been an issue with Usman's cardio, and I think Usman's going to be able to push the fight and win.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, I'm excited. I know because there's going to be a lot of good fights. And then Lawler and Askren. I'd like to see Robbie win, but I don't know, man. Ben, I've never even seen him fight. I've never seen him fight. I've never even looked at one championship fight. But man, if he comes in there and just totally does, but I think he probably is going to dominate. He's a pretty confident guy, and he doesn't seem like really nervous or anything. He's pretty confident. I got to give Askren.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that because I mean I love Lawler to death, and he's always got that puncher's chance. But Lawler is older. Askren's in his literal prime right now, and he's got a lot more to prove than Lawler. Lawler's been there, he's done that, and he's fighting because he's passionate about it. But Askren is literally trying to prove that he deserves to be in UFC because he's already been kicked out once.
Yeah.
And so, taking the politics out of it, I think he's just F you mad at it. You know what I mean? So I think he will. I think he ends it early. I think it's like a first or second round, and he gets a hold of him. I mean, I think that's how confident I am in Askren. I think he's going to be first or second round, not submission, but actually putting down Lawler and putting him to sleep. I mean, that's what I see happening.
Ooh, that would be nice.
And Lawler's not the guy that you ever count on him being knocked out or beat up. And I think Askren's going to put hands on him and make a point of why he's supposed to be there. So I mean, with Askren, Usman, and Smith, I mean, those are my 3 picks on that, and I'm confident in them. I mean, it's not like, I'm just going to play the odds on that, but I really do think those 3 are going to do something big, and it's all an undercard thing, underdog thing. So it's just, I'm excited for the fight. There's a lot of other fights on there, just girl fights on there. But
Tisha Torres is coming back.
But it just, those 3 fights, man, that's what's going to sell the card. I mean, it's worth watching on that.
I was looking at him earlier today, and now I can't even remember the day. Because I was looking at, I know Colby coverage is making noise and Usman saying it's fake.
I still got Usman, man. It's insane. So how about the combatas? I couldn't make it down there. I mean, I was sick. I watched them.
Zoila did her thing, man. She went in there like owned the place.
Yeah,
and I'm happy for her, man. She really needed that.
But also, she's been doing it long enough where she can own the ring, and she's got legitimate lineage. I mean, with her boxing and kickboxing, she did
good. I mean, there's other events we've seen her, and it was a lot closer.
Right.
This is the first actually MMA fight that I seen her dominate that quick.
Really?
Yeah. Because when she fought Karina with the same experience, and Karina just barely starting, not the same Karina that she is today.
Oh no, that'd be a totally different fight.
She couldn't stop her. So that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
But that Zoila should have did that to Karina at that time.
What do you got about Cody Garbrandt and Pedro Munoz?
Cody, his comeback. That's gonna be a good one, man.
That's on the card too. I
Pedro's
forgot about
badass.
that fight.
He's badass.
But he's fighting that kid from Brazil, and that guy's on a streak right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with Munoz.
Munoz, that's not bad. I love Gambrandt to death, but
yeah. Even the what's his name, Jeremy Stevens, the Heathen's gonna be fighting on there too.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of good fights on this card.
It's a big deal. It's insane. The prelims. Let's see what they got. Diego Sanchez fighting Mickey Gall.
Oh, there you go.
That assault tickets by itself.
Yeah,
that should be a fight night by itself. Mickey Gall and Diego Sanchez, and you got Cody Stamann versus Alejandro Perez. That'd be a good fight. They're both up and comers right now, but I think Alejandro Perez has probably got the win on that. Just his cardio and his tempo of fighting.
Yeah.
Cody Stamann, he's got hands, but I think Perez is gonna push that fight. And then you got Johnny Walker and I can't even Chikrinov, both light heavyweights. Those are up and comer guys. Johnny Walker's not even ranked right now, but I think it's the second fight he's got for him, and it's gonna be a good push to see if he can get in the top 15 and start getting some recognition. Misha's 14th in the world, but I mean he doesn't excite me at all by any means. And then you got Stevens versus can't even say Zabit's last name, Magomed Sherpo.
Yeah, that German kid, that good submission guy.
But I don't.
Jeremy Stevens knocked him out.
That's if Jeremy Stevens stands, then that's gonna be the fight. But lately you've been watching wrestlers just dominate, take him down.
Yeah.
And
that guy's a good submission dude.
But Khabib showed that. With the Khabib Conor fight, it just showed that. He can stand a tray, but he put it down as soon as you get your wrestling, pin your legs down.
Oh,
I'm striker. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So it's just the evolution of the sport is just so awesome. But yeah, so who you got between Diego Sanchez and Mickey Gall?
I gotta go with the Nightmare, man.
Oh man,
Mickey Gall's big though, too, for his weight.
I mean, he makes a big cut on that, but I gotta go with Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall's he's exciting.
Yeah, he's been stronger every time he's fought.
And Diego, I mean, if Diego's head's not in the game, he'll get his ass whooped. You know, I mean, as talented as a fighter as he is, he's a head case a lot of times. You know, I mean, he's at a place where
Yeah, he's on his downside.
yeah, but I mean, still got that name from all the crazy.
All the war, he's been in a lot of wars, man. I remember watching Diego Sanchez in Gladiator Challenge in Saboba.
Right.
Went to Saboba, man, and over there and watched him in San Jacinto. For the first time, me and Jeff Sherwood went, and that was the first time I seen Diego. He goes, check this dude out from Albuquerque, and he fought on their 170. Oh my God! And then next thing I seen him was on the Ultimate Fighting.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, that guy's badass.
It's crazy. I mean, people like when I started fighting are still fighting. You know what I mean? It's 18 years later. It's just insane to watch this stuff. And I mean, you start looking at age of fighter, and that starts being a factor. And then you got some of these guys who are just good, you know, and that's the measuring stone. I mean, some fighters like Chuck Liddell. He's 50 years old. He needs to stay retired, you know. And I
still wouldn't fight.
I wouldn't square up with him, you know,
No,
not at all. But
no.
But you start looking at like BJ Penn,
Yeah.
and you know these guys are getting up in age, and BJ Penn, he's by far, I mean, being from the same town as I am, he's my favorite fighter of all time. But he's established what he can do. He's got nothing else to prove.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing that, man.
But I mean, with Diego Sanchez, his cardio's there, everything will be there. But what else is he trying to prove? Is he trying to still be relevant in the game at that weight and try to get a title back, or
I don't know.
I mean,
Fighting on the prelims.
or is he more like a doorkeeper for the UFC? And I mean, he gets a good paycheck out of it. And so I mean, it just, I'm not.
They would probably rather keep him than have him in Bellator.
Oh yeah, and Bellator's doing big
like
things.
that too. But I don't know, Diego. He's never in a boring fight, man.
No, even when he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah,
somewhere.
he's never in a boring fight. He gives everything he's got. He guaranteed blood.
Yeah, no
And
joke.
it's gonna happen. And he's still got a lot of fight, even though he takes a lot of abuse. The guy still puts time in, man, and does really good.
Did you watch the Crow Cop versus Nelson fight?
I bet you Hobby was furious.
Well, you know, I agree because Hobby did more damage than Crow Cop, in my opinion. To him.
Yeah.
And Hobby got put in a bad position, I think, in that situation because he was a championship
What's
situation.
they didn't want to fight him.
No,
He just wanted to hold him.
he wanted the same thing that he did to Hobby, but I think Hobby was put in a championship situation where either he had to kill him or he's gonna take the loss, you know. And it was kind of slated against him when he went in. But to see Crow Cop come back, I mean,
He looked strong.
he was strong and he was winded at the end, and so was Nelson. But Nelson's so crafty; he usually puts a good fight together, and there's nothing he can answer with. I mean,
He just like
he absorbed it,
and I think he thought he was going to take him out easy.
yeah, and it never happened. It never came to fruition. I mean, and when you start looking at these older fighters, I mean, Crow Cop's still really relevant. I mean, he's a heavyweight that's still pretty relevant, and there's not many heavyweights that you can say 15 years from now you're still going to be relevant, you know. And it comes down to people being good at their craft and doing their thing.
What was the worst you ever seen Crow Cop do against Gonzaga?
Yeah, he got it. Gonzaga had his number that night. He knew what he was going to do, and he just was first to the punch the entire time.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, Crow Cop's one of my favorite fighters, and I've never liked Gonzaga, but Gonzaga I had getting so
That
much
was
respect.
brutal,
I mean, he beat up one of the guys. I'm like, he can't be beat up. This guy can't be beat up. You know, it's impossible.
Crow Cop became human that night.
Yeah, you know, right leg hospital, left leg funeral home. I mean,
Yeah.
this is bad news all across the board. So what else we got coming up? We got Jeremy's fights coming up in 559. We got the fight Saturday, and then I'm super excited for the 559 fights because they are introducing the jiu-jitsu stance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. And like I was saying earlier, you know, you're going to have like the naysayers, blah, 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 blah. But it does, man. After talking about the things that it can open up and lead to in the future, by the time they get this stuff dialed in, I think everybody's going to be involved.
You know,
I mean, who knows? We could see a Butter versus Hobby in grappling.
man, I'll kill Hopefully he's not watching. But you start looking at the springboard that Fight to Win gave. You know, they came in here. They're a big organization, and they're very reputable. But it gave. I mean, I think Jeremy's the smartest one in the group to springboard off of that and involve somebody like Mike Moreno that knows jiu-jitsu, knows a lot of guys. And
they're in that network.
And he's a legitimate name in the sport.
Yeah.
And, you know, and with that network, you're giving MMA a chance to see jiu-jitsu, which I'm sorry, but a lot of the MMA fans don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. They're out there for the blood and for the excitement. Yeah. And if they start learning a little bit about, you know, knee placement.
Yeah, I think it's going to educate a lot of people.
It has
that
to.
Don't know anything.
And once the education hits, I think a lot more of the ground fighting is going to become more exciting because it is a chess match. I mean,
yeah, they'll understand it and they'll say, okay, this is, this is pretty cool. And they might be more of that push towards looking more of that. Have more jiu-jitsu tournaments.
You know, I mean, it's jiu-jitsu tournaments. For me, it's a craft that a lot of guys are into. They use it for fitness. But there's a lot of good guys that just don't enter anything because they don't want to travel to LA. They don't want to travel to San Francisco.
Or they just can't afford it.
Right. And then, I mean, you start having a couple more fights happening and actually have something in the local scene that they can, show off their dojo. And
there could be a lot of guys out there we don't even know about yet, man.
Yeah.
They get into this thing like, shit, where the hell you been, dude?
I mean, you start throwing names.
I didn't know you're into that shit.
There's big names like Hammerfist, and you got Tom Knox, but then you start throwing out names like Neil Burgess, and they call him the Golden Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Every tournament he enters in the jiu-jitsu, he is amazing. You know,
Been doing that for a long time.
but there's not many people know about him. But
No.
I mean, he's such a good resource that Hobby started going down there to train with him before the mirror fight,
Big guy.
and that paid off. Because every big man move that Mir tried to do on Hobby pulled out of it, and it comes down to who you're rolling with and what's available.
Yeah.
And there's so much available in the valley with jiu-jitsu now that it's about time they have an avenue to be showcased. I mean, because there's a lot of judo guys too in the area that are good that transition to jiu-jitsu, and it'd be nice to see more well-rounded events because mixed martial arts is fighting basically, but then you get to jiu-jitsu, it's a specialty move, but it's a huge part of MMA, standing and sitting down. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about seeing that. I mean, that's one of the first times I've saw an event and I'm like, that needs to happen. You know, so I'm excited for Jeremy on that.
That's it. All right, man. We're come to the end of our hourglass here, man. We want everybody to basically shout out to everybody that continues to support us. Shout out, obviously, to MMA Fight Pass for having our backs, making this available for us to do it. Spike and Rail, the barbecue house here. Major sponsors always supporting us. Visalia MMA, Alonzo. Shout out to Bob Millions, man. That guy is a righteous dude. And 559Fights. I'm glad to be on board. Big year, man. These guys are going to bring a lot. We're going to have a lot that we're going to introduce there. Understand we're going to have a booth there too. And I understand we're actually manufacturing some gear.
Come get some swag at the
Get some
fights.
swag, and then at the same time, it's going to double up for after the fight interviews.
Yep.
So we'll be doing kind of like the ESPN deal.
And these young guys getting the chance to do that. That's
Yeah.
a lot of the amateur guys don't get to do an after fight interview.
Yeah.
And if they're good enough and they go farther on, it'll get prepped further down the road.
Oh yeah.
So that's a great thing.
I think that's quite going to be good, and mainly for our community. They can all be a part of it and stuff.
Right.
But and that's it, man, for this Thursday night. Thanks a lot again. Next week, check with us. We'll let you know what's going on and who we'll have on next week. From my partner in crime here, Van Lacio, Big Butter. That's a wrap.
Wow.
And from Campbell McFarland, took my hat off the motherfucker. I know, man. I couldn't